Leave that here for a second. Give people a chance to pop in. Hello, everybody that has come in. Starting out with some props given to somebody in a situation that can easily not do the right thing, instead did the right thing. And this is a tweet that is a picture from Bloomington, Indiana. Mark Cuban went to Bloomington, Indiana, graduated from Bloomington School of Business, and came back to Bloomington and left a $10,000 tip at Kilroy's. And anybody from around anywhere close to Bloomington knows what Kilroy's is. The amount was the hefty check, $3,056.40, a $611.28 automatic gratuity, and then a $10,000 additional tip. So there we go. Props to Mark Cuban. He can afford to do that, and it's good that he does. Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching. A little something there in the beginning to get things kicked off, and it's Late Night America on the American Doofus channel, and we are going to be we're going to be talking some 1776 stuff coming up, and the reason why. What we do on this show, what we've always done on this show, is we talk about things that should be getting talked about that aren't. And 1776 situation is one of those things. It's not being covered by local media. It's not being covered by national media. It's a strictly online thing. And it is the thing at the moment that we need to pay close attention to. It may not be the thing next month. Next month, it may be Detroit. Matter of fact, there's a possibility there's going to be a big focus in Detroit next month. We'll talk about that in an upcoming episode. We touched on it earlier in this afternoon's episode. If you didn't catch that, run back and catch that. It's about a 7-minute episode with 5 things to really think about. But 1776, the situation there at Bunker Hill is not getting enough attention for the potential for different things to happen. Let's just start out by putting it that way. And I do have one thing I want to draw attention to that I'm just going to draw attention to it because unless you stay under a rock, you're going to hear about this. Joe Biden, President of the United States, has determined to ban assault weapons in this country. Good luck with that, Joe. Good luck with that. He said he's done it before, and it was done before, and it was allowed to lapse. The pulse of this country, and you're going to ignite possibly by doing this now. And that's just my opinion because I keep a good eye. I've got a lot of good contacts. I'm blessed. I've got a pretty good sphere of influence, and it keeps growing, and it's amazing. So I hear a lot of things. Now, Representative Eric Swalwell, staffer of mine who's 1 month into her job, received a call from a man saying he's coming to our office with an assault rifle to kill me. I hesitate to share this, but how else do I tell you we're in violent times and the architects are Trump and McCarthy? Bloodshed is coming. And that's from a That's from a congressman who's saying bloodshed is coming. And I kind of felt like people ought to hear that. Now, blaming Trump and McCarthy, that's not going to help anything. But at the same time, this is first. This is not the first I've heard that there is concern about a legitimate civil war because of Trump, and the sides being drawn. Anyway, thought we should bring that up before we get into the 1776 stuff. It could be it all ties together. If, we look back on things and things play out, who knows? But at the moment, he got pretty tense at Bunker Hill. And actually, before I put this up, if you have experiences with cults and you get triggered or anything like that, turn it off. All right, because now I'm not saying that what we're seeing is a cult. What I am saying is what we're about to look at is cultish, at least. And if you get triggered, there's, man, get off for a few moments, get off the stream for a few moments, and then hop back on live again. It'll give me another view, and it'll give you a little peace of mind. Give me about 3 minutes here. This is one of the views that that those of us that watch this, all for our various different reasons, this is one of the views we saw. This is from the king of content, defender of ants, and he is indeed the king of content as far as this situation is going. And he displays, and I've said this before, he is he's a natural. All right. He displays brinkmanship. He takes things right up to the brink and then knows when to step back. And he displayed that numerous times tonight. And you can go back and watch his videos that we're not going to play. This is what we do. We point you to other places to see things you might be interested in. So when we're done here, if you haven't caught it, go back and at least skim through the Defender of Ants. Right here's where you can find it. His page is kind of like my page in that we don't get, when we're live, it's generally not shown that we're actually live. As far as promoted, and the only way you find him is you got to search for him and subscribe, and I would say do that. And while I'm talking about it, the only way you can find me most of the time is either search for me or subscribe. So while you're here, hit that subscribe button. But Ant took the brinkmanship to the to its level, to its precipice, to the point where it was just about no return, and did it several times tonight, and triggered a number of people. He was there by himself, and at one time, I don't know, there were 10 or 12 people out there across in opposition to him, and he just kept bringing it, and then and I and then it looked like Ant was just going to be totally overwhelmed, and two guys showed up out of nowhere. Um, I really don't know where they came from or who they are. Um, but it was it was like the other night I talked about whoever's writing and directing and producing this, even though it all is organically happening, it sure seems like it's because at the exact right time, some dude, well built young man with no shirt and a pair of shorts showed up, and it just shocked the heck out of the 1776 people. And another guy shows up, and 1776 people dispersed. That was probably the most interesting moment of the night. Um, so locals are getting involved, and I'm assuming these guys were local. And then a little bit later on, um, two other locals pulled up in a car, and locals are getting involved, and um, that can really mess things up, because at the moment it is a peaceful, relatively peaceful back and forth with a lot of poking from each side, and a lot of brinkmanship, and brinkmanship was displayed um, by Red Squirrel tonight too. For those that saw what happened, Red remained calm in a situation that honestly I thought I might be jumping on live early just to get more eyes on what was going to go down, because that's what you do when something's happening live. You want as many copies, if you will, as many eyes on it as possible, so that if you only got one copy of something anyway. um and Red Squirrel stayed calm, and those that watched, what I'm talking about. Those that didn't, go back and watch after we're done if you missed it, because tonight was one of those nights where uh everybody was live streaming that was there. And by that I mean um all of the people over here. Basically, there's um there used to be for those that are new to this, there used to be a relatively decent live streamer on the 1776 side of the barbed wire fence, um, and they booted him out, I believe, or he left, one of the two. But now they don't have they have people with cameras. All right, they don't have people telling stories and visually, telling stories. Those of us that have done this stuff, it's like, you get it, you want to present a compelling portrait of what's going on. Now, nobody really has a lot of experience doing that in this group, okay? Because these people aren't used to protesting. Yeah, they've drove across the country in a convoy. That's not protesting. Um, and if they were in Washington D.C. to legitimately protest, they know absolutely nothing about protesting. And I still don't think that was the intent, but that's for another time as well. But anyway, what we see at the moment, even though the things are getting pushed, things are relatively peaceful because the people know each other. All right. And it gets like that in situations like this, even in the protests in Louisville, for example. All right, the leaders of the Louisville protest would communicate with the police officers that were there to make sure things didn't get out of control. What, okay. They knew each other, they talked with each other. The same thing happens here. They yell back and forth at each other. They know each other's names. They've spent time on the road together. All right. This isn't, as the most prominent person that broadcasts on the internet is a guy that goes by the name of Oreo, which is a blatant copyright violation. And the more people that make that fact known to Nabisco and their parent company, the more that wrong can be rectified. But he has a phone, and somebody tried to take his phone one time, and there's a big thing about give back my phone. But the guy, he's not, all he does is go, I tell you guys, it's the left. It's the left. It's the liberals. It's the liberals. They're not fighting the left. They're not fighting the liberals. They're fighting people as far right, if not more far right than them in most of these situations. And not liberals, and all these people are donating money thinking that they're out there fighting liberals, when in fact they're not. These people don't know each other. And that brings me back to the point I was making, is that locals are starting to come in. Locals are starting to, local guys show up. Now, maybe this was all behind the scenes stuff, and they knew these two guys were going to show up at the time they did to have Ants back. And that's cool. If they're just local, not that it's, I'm not, you mix people that don't know into a volatile situation already. And this other car pulls up, and these two kids were like they were going to be something and do something until they saw what they were in the middle of. And Ant said, you all probably should just head out of here. And they did. But situations like that, where locals are there and they're possibly not 100% up on what's going on, or the rules of engagement, if you will, because they're not really laid out in this situation, but they're kind of unspoken as far as, you don't get on this part, you don't get on this part. And we might see more locals get involved. And if this is the 30th of August, 11:19 p.m. Again, thank you all for watching. I'll get over into the chat in a minute, because we're going to talk about some things. They are supposed to be, they meaning 1776, they are supposed to be out of the Bunker Hill compound by the end of the month. This is according to David Rydell's Santa, a live stream he did, and said that, they had been evicted and they were going to be out. But more people keep coming. And there's a concern that they just may not get out, that they may just stay there. They may just lock the place up and dare somebody to come and take them off of the property. if it goes to that, that's like a step below Waco and Ruby Ridge, and that is when this story goes off of the internet and becomes dominated by mainstream media. And that's when opposition shows up in mass. And that's when supporters show up in mass. And that's when a small thing like what we have been following becomes a national concern. All right, I'm going to hop over here into the chat for just a second. And if you got questions, you got comments or anything, hello to everybody. Thank you for watching, no matter where you're at. Thank you for watching. Hi, Sissy. Hey, Pat Tolliver. True Celtic Mutt. Hello, True Celtic Mutt. Welcome. Hot Mess Summer. How are you doing, darling? Dean Wall. The Old Astronomer. Sibling Party. Casey. Hi, Casey. Think Al Munson is just an offshoot of the Trump cult. Salute to you, Pat. Al Munson, we got to get you on here sometime. Al Munson's got one of the greatest voices in the world. Okay, let me run back. Bad Boy Aries. Hello, Bad Boy. True Celtic Mutt, again, welcome and hello. Thanks for joining. So that's what's happening pretty much up till the moment anyway, before we came on, probably an hour before we came on. Everybody left peacefully, as you know, we've covered actual real life, protests where, crap was going down and, people getting shot in the face with rubber bullets and, where you got to pull your gas mask down and you got to take cover, and it doesn't matter if you're press, and it's always great no matter what protest we're covering, even if it's this brand new incarnation of protesting where you sit in lawn chairs and turn your phone into a video camera and ask people to give you money. It's totally different, but we always like when everybody comes home safe. That's the main point. And it happened again tonight thus far. I say thus far because Lori Arnold will be back out there protesting tonight, late night. I can just about guarantee it. It seems like it's her time, when she and she goes out there by herself. She's brave as anyway. Lori will probably be back out later on. I think everybody else is probably done, unless there is some kind of something planned, in which case we'll all be watching. We talked the other night about how I kind of viewed this whole thing, and I touched on it, but I didn't get into it. The fact that what we are able to enjoy on the screen, on our computer screens, the people that are there in real life, a lot of other stuff goes on, and there are mods, all right, and I have mods, and I don't. Maybe mods are like politicians, It's like, well, my mod's great, all other mods suck. That's not the case. All right. My mods are great. Yes, my mods are great. And I know some people that mod in chats, and some of them are great. And I've seen some horrendous things happen. And the mods, um, some mods try to make themselves the stars, and that's that's generally not how it works. The stars are the people that we watch, on the screen, that are actually in real life putting boots on the ground and yelling the things they yell, and it is a phenomenon. But my channel's not like the real life, the IRL, the in real life channels, um, because those people, you know, and it's real easy to do. You get involved. You want to help. You want, yeah. Look behind that freaking truck. Look behind that frick. But sometimes, um, and the chats have power. The chats have power in these IRL, in real life situations, and sometimes the chats forget that the person, especially if the person's doing something that's even slightly bit dangerous, and the person needs to have, a fairly decent amount of focus on their surroundings and their situational awareness. I've seen chats overpower things to the point where the content provider just says, enough of this, and boom, shuts it off. Um, so, all I'm doing is reporting. Okay, that's all we do on the. You can go back and watch over 500 different episodes. We just talk about what's going on, and I thought, my gosh, this is I have never seen that happen, and it shouldn't happen. Um, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, um, no matter who you like or dislike, who you support or don't support. Um, I'm going to grift just for a second here for the people that we watch. Um, they are out there. They are really out there. We imagine in our heads what that fence looks like, and what, and where, the trucks, they're out there. They're out there doing it, and they're allowing us to watch. Not only, they're allowing us to share portions of their life. And if you've enjoyed it at any point and you haven't sent a little bit of money, and you are in a position where you can, um, send them a little bit of money. Send your favorite a little bit of money. If um, Oreo expresses your favorite, I don't have to tell you. You've probably already sent big chunks of money, which is just um, your right to do. If your favorites, the squirrels, make sure, send them $10. 15 people, send them $10. That's $150. That gets them a couple of nights in a hotel. Um, and if you don't like any of that, you don't like any of the stuff going on, um, don't support it. Don't watch it. Don't. But at the moment, it is the thing. It's the thing, and it has morphed from this from this truck convoy to this group with cultish behaviors and with questionable practices and questionable potential ties. And that started the whole thing. And a lot of people have been involved since that very beginning of this truck convoy. This is not a truck convoy at the moment. This is an occupational group to occupy. Okay, they're there for occupation, not for jobs, to occupy. And I'm really interested to see if they get out of there at the end of the month. But this has spun into a much bigger thing because they went to Washington, D.C., and because people showed up and stood up against them. And it wasn't the people, they are 1776 and being tied to pedophilia is hurting the entire patriot movement. It's making them all seem not be taken serious, other than the threat of violence, and just okay, and let them burn themselves out. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that will happen or would happen, but that's kind of what that's why this isn't getting any more attention. That's why this isn't getting any more attention, is because of that tie, and because of the people exploiting that tie. So things have developed and grown, and there are, as I said, there are people, and I watch a lot myself, and I see a lot of the names in chat and a lot of great people. There are people that are in all the chats that this is, I mentioned it's Tiger King-ish, almost, people were almost obsessed with it, and watch any kind of content that's related to it. And a lot of stuff gets like passed back and forth among the chats. Okay. And this is one of the things I was wanting to point out about the mods in the chats. Things get passed back and forth, not always true, but in campaigns like this, disinformation, misinformation are part of what happens, and the things get passed back and forth in chats, and a lot of lies told, and a lot of things become true for a brief amount of time, until until the truth actually stumps the lie out. So the mods and how good the mods are, and the loyalty of chatters, these two things play a significant part in this particular 1776 scenario. Normally that's not the case in other protest situations or in other situations where reform is, but this is unique. So I'm doing a show about it, and letting people kind of know that there's more that goes on than just watching. And of course, a lot of you are avid watchers, and you're like, Doofus. Of course, we know that, and you do know that. And if you know that, you know I'm telling the truth. So, how long have it been? Okay. Let me look back over in the chat here for a second. Hang on. Oh, absolutely. Pedophiles really need to go. There's nobody. Well, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to say nobody will argue that, because that's why the situation basically is what it is. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments or anything here? Well, I got to taking a small break. And Thunder and Fred, I haven't seen them for a couple of times either. Pat, hope everything's okay with everyone. Okay, Dean Wall came on a little bit ago and said Ants live now. So go catch the Defender of Ants. We'll be back on Thursday night at 11. I just want to end with this one thing. At the end of things this evening, or the end of the first round, I guess, some guy kept yelling at Red Squirrel, why did you tell that 13-year-old girl to close her legs? Why did you tell that 13-year-old girl to close her legs? Why did you tell that? Why didn't that guy tell the 13-year-old girl? Red told her to close her legs because the way she was sitting was inappropriate. The real question ought to have been, why didn't that guy? I'm not sure who that guy is. If he's relevant, I apologize. If he's not relevant, here's a hint. You do one of two things. You either make him incredibly relevant, so much so that Santa and all the other alpha males are going to be jealous, or you make sure he stays relevant, or make sure he stays irrelevant and just don't ever respond. Just a little hint, a little tip on how things can be handled sometimes when somebody has a megaphone. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will be back. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jarmvic Viscus. We will be back Thursday night, 11 p.m. We'll do this all again live, and probably have an update or two in between now and then. So thank you all for watching. Again, Ants live now. It is 11:39. It's Defender of Ants. Just in YouTube up at the top, Defender of Ants. Go catch the live and send some money. Defender of Ants, Freedom Squirrel, Red Squirrel, Lori Arnold, and of course the one and only Anarchy Princess. And I want to. There was a lady that showed up there that lives in the area, and I think it was West Virginia Peacekeeper, I think was her name. And it's one thing to go somewhere, it's a lot easier to go somewhere and to protest and know that you're leaving that place and you're going back. It's a lot easier to do that than to protest in your own area, because you protest in your own area like Lori Arnold did. Everybody knows who you are, and they either love you or hate you. So shout out to the West Virginia Peacekeeper, Trucker Girl, Dire Wolf, and Crazy Ivan, that have made appearances that I haven't mentioned yet. So, and also I was talking about how For those that are still watching, I was talking about how all of this has developed other things that kind of come around it. Um, and we're putting our focus on it, but I just want to do a quick shout out here at the end, to this is Behind the Mirror. Okay. um, Behind the Mirror on YouTube. they've they've put out videos, they put out content, and they have focused they had focused extensively on what was going on. And this is a page called Meanwhile on YouTube. Once again, some really good video work. If you want to kind of do a quick catch up on what has happened leading up to where the situation is now, Meanwhile is a great way to do so. And so is Just a Lazy Gamer. Now, we've had both of these sites on before, but again, I just wanted to kind of call out to kind of, after now we've kind of got a little bit of a playing field, a game board, if you will, of um, things that are going on. It's not just the people on the screens, it's the chats, it's the mods, it's some incredibly gifted video people, and it's Johnny Troy and the Hayseeds, and it's a lot of things that have popped up kind of around the 1776 thing, and they need props because there's some talented videos out there. And actually, since there's not many of us left, and I've already kind of closed it out. Actually, there's one guy that is a freaking video genius. There's a couple of guys. I'm gonna say something about Telescope real quick because I haven't mentioned Telescope and Xfoot. And one of the characters is a guy the guy goes by X-Ray, and he kind of morphed into Xfoot and Telescope. And I don't have it pulled up, but Telescope's got some pretty humorous videos about looking for Xfoot. And then there's another guy that is just another guy that's a genius, and I'm not going to say his name, and I'm not going to promote him because he'd probably take my page down. But he knows who he is, and people, and it's not just me, any stretch of the imagination, but people are amazed by how creative and how quick and how good some of his stuff is. So there we go. Lazy Gamer, a site called Meanwhile, Telescope, Behind the Mirror. Those are places where you can get caught up on what has happened in the past, and stay caught up, because Lazy Gamer has stuff up within a couple of minutes of it happening at times. So subscribe to all of them, and again, send a little bit of cash if you can. Not to me this time. You can send it to me. I always need it. You know that. $ American Doofus, AMERICANDUFUS. Email americandufus@gmail.com. Lori Arnold, Anarchy Princess, the King of Content, Defender of Ants, Freedom Squirrel, Red Squirrel, And those are the ones that are primarily on the ground at the moment. So if at all possible, send a little cash their way. Send a couple of bucks, and just help out. If you enjoy, if you've enjoyed watching, if you want to continue watching, it's like public TV. Help out a little bit. All right. I love you all. Thank you all sincerely for hanging out, for watching. We'll be back Thursday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, 8 Pacific. We'll be doing the Late Night America show right here on American Dufus.